Guys, my mind is blown. This has never before seen cut Halo 2, Halo 3, and Halo Reach content that is now becoming available to play. Speaking of which, Spasm and other experiences for Halo 1, pre-Halo 1 development stuff is now playable on the Steam Workshop. But firstly, Dig Site, right? This is an operation where 343 Industries has gone in and recovered just a bunch of content from the Bungie era. And this includes this version of the Halo 2 anti-aircraft Wraith. We have this Scorpion, the original Sun Devil. It's been heavily updated to be game ready from Halo 2 development files, right? There's also a missile launcher version of the Scorpion. So basically what we're going to be doing today is just quickly looking at the most juiciest parts of 343's dig site operation. There's so much here, including several cut Halo 3 maps that ended up making their way into Halo Reach. And I'm really excited about that because this is all available in the modding tools now. But here we have the prototype brute grenades from Halo 2 updated to work in retail. That's what 343 is doing. They're taking these assets that never made it into the games, polishing it, and then making it in a playable state, or at least in the mod tools, which will be playable very soon anyway. So Halo 2 dev maps, right? We have a couple. We have this place. This was featured from the Halo 2 E3 demo, and they just got the scenario and fixed up the bitmaps, reconstructed the skybox, and converted it into shaders. I mean, this is nuts. We have brutes as well being revived and kind of cleaned up in order, you know, from left to right. These are prototype brutes and their development into the final game. But we also have the E3 Phantom, right? As well as the animations, the animated landing gear, the side guns, and all that good stuff. So we have Blender exports as well of the M1 Exploration moon base. So this is nuts. This is hard to believe that this is all here, right? This is the stuff that 343 didn't even know exists. This is stuff that Bungie employees haven't even thought about for probably 20 years, and we have some of them talking about this stuff, right? We have pretty much all this behind the scenes stuff just ripping and roaring and coming out, you know? It's just amazing to see this stuff, right? We have some really cool iterations of the Guardians. They say when work first began on the Halo 3 Guardian, we had only a single model file to work with, and we were missing any MCC compatible tags. So look at the Guardian on the left. That is such a strange, unique Foreigner design. It almost doesn't even look Foreigner, but I really do like the one in the middle and the one on the right. That is really cool. We also are talking about here the E3 2006 trailer. So they're trying to get this obstacle, this scenario working again. They say the largest. This is nuts, man. I'm blown away. The largest obstacle, they say, to getting the scenario running again has been scripting. The scripts for this scenario were written during an earlier development phase for Halo 3, and as such, much of the functionality has been changed. So, yeah, you know, where Master Chief is walking up and seeing this, you know, beautiful scenario. It's just such an iconic trailer. They're working on getting this where it can be played from start to finish. It can now be played from start to finish, they confirm. I mean, look at that. It just needs a little bit more time and effort so it can shine like it did once again in 2006. This is nuts, all right? I know it is such a nerdy thing to geek out on, but they've taken these weapons, these models that Bungie just kind of designed and wasn't able to finish for whatever reason, didn't put it in the final game for whatever reason, and kind of just polishing it while keeping the original aesthetic there without really altering it, just increasing the polygons, right? We also have early iterations of classic Halo 3 maps, including Snowbound, right? Max Hoberman actually showed off this map a little bit, some different angles, some more rendered parts of this map, and I know not many people are a big fan of Snowbound, but I still think it's really cool to see what could have been, right? So, yes, we will be looking at some of this other stuff very soon, but again, moving forward, we have early versions of Construct, and you can see that the lighting, this is just a block out phase of the map, mostly is remaining the same as the final finished version. So anyways, there's just Bungie employees that have these like little inside knowledge and secrets about what we're looking at now. I mean, that is called Dig Site for a reason. 343 is finding stuff. They are literally finding stuff that no one knew existed really, except for a few people. So they say they're providing a small look at this map but it's basically a BTB version of Halo 3's High Ground, right? It's in a similar design, and it's called Permafrost. So I really want to see what this one looks like, especially when it is playable. And I'm so excited for 343 to add this stuff into matchmaking. I mean, who does this, right? Who does that? I know 343's made a lot of mistakes, but this is such a good fat W. It feels good for the soul, right? It really does. Anyways, they say the texture wasn't set up at all for this Warthog. They found the Halo 2 Troop Warthog, and somehow this thing has just been evading, Halo, getting into Halo for a long time, but it's always kind of been there. So, we want to jump in the back, right? That's all we really want to do. They've also added the ability to jump on hunters within these modules, I guess. So basically, they found tags and evidence that Bungie planned on having it where you can ride hunters and you can melee them, and they polished this up. So you'll be able to plant grenades or melee a hunter, as seen as what it was also cut for Halo Reach. So Bungie's been thinking about doing this for many years and just never really did it. We have an explosive machine gun turret that was never released for Halo 2. I mean, this thing is nuts. I would love to see it in action, right? But yeah, they they got to work on it. And Beast Tamer. The Slugman and Drinal were fun to get into the game. They say the Drinal only had a few animations and the Slugman had none. So here they have like cutscenes with these other Covenant members that we've never seen before, and you can learn a little bit more about these guys in my last video. But yeah, I mean, I think it would have been cool to have a couple more Covenant members show up. I would have loved to see at least a few more aliens, right? But anyways, they started digging into Halo Reach's files too, and there's so much about Halo 3 we're about to dip our toes into. So many cool maps that just look like they were so classic. In fact, let's just go ahead and jump into that because I'm just so excited about this. So this Halo modder, Kira, sorry if I butchered that name, but this is honestly a really great modder. They've done some really amazing things, and actually Uber Nick and Hidden Xperia seem that say that it looks like Halo MCC is having a full-blown comeback, right? This could become the eternal Halo game, and I think 343 knows that MCC is going to be their long-term baby, right? So anyways, Landslide is a Halo 3 cut DLC map. It has 3 bases that are identical to the ones from Valhalla. So very large, and the very funny thing about this map is that it has a zip line. Now, the zip line isn't going to work the way you think it does. It's not quite functional, but it's interesting that Bungie was thinking about adding a DLC map that had a functionable zip line, right? I would love to see this patched up by a modder, and honestly, if someone can do it, it'd probably be Kira to just like grab this map and polish it up and make it playable. And then if 343 is confident enough with it, pop it into matchmaking. I really do see a long-term future for MCC, and I think this stuff is helping so much. So what we're looking at is actually files that were dropped into the Halo 3 ODST mod tools, but Halo 3 ODST is technically formed as DLC for Halo 3. They're the same engine, so this is obviously all built for Halo 3, by the way. So what we're seeing here right now is the final map for Halo 3's Warthog Incorporated. So it looks like it was just a standard multiplayer map. Obviously, it's just very blocked out, but maybe you can imagine what it could have looked like in the final build, and I could totally see modders coming in and finishing what Bungie did not, right? Now, this one is nicknamed Anxiety from the custom edition, which Bungie was going to make into a DLC map for potentially Halo 3. Kira says, I don't know. It looks like a lot of the stuff, honestly, evidently, that Bungie planned for Halo 1 and 2 made it into 3, and then stuff that was cut for 3 made it into 4, and, so on. Including a lot of things that 343 borrowed from these other games and put in Halo 4. So, it's just been like building this Halo experience throughout the years. And so what we are looking at here is something from Galaxy. He discovered something interesting. I love that the community is now getting into the dig site themselves. It looks like Bungie, they say, we're going to implement a fan-made map named Halo Custom Edition Anxiety by someone named Mrs. Doublefire into Halo 3. So very cool stuff. Obviously very incomplete. Got a lot of verticality. Got this cool little bridge. I think it would have been very interesting, very fun. There's also 2 Halo 2 maps in the DLC folder for Halo 3 ODST. So these are some Halo 2 maps, right? Pretty much Sanctuary and Beaver Creek were just re-imports into Halo 3. So that's pretty awesome, right? Pretty awesome. We also have an early version of Longshore. Frank the Fish is nowhere to be seen yet on this version. So pretty much identical, well, at least from my memory. I mean, obviously there's going to be some small little route changes and stuff, but pretty much the same thing. We also have these 2 iconic vehicles. This version has the Pelicans and drone fighters and super carriers on 3D models rather than 2D bitmaps. So Bungie probably did this to save space, but what you see here is the drone fighter, and this has actually been made into a flyable vehicle on Halo 1 Custom Edition. But anyway, if you play the current Halo 3, like final version of this map, these are just bitmaps, but this is cool that there were actually 3D versions of these vehicles that Bungie intended to be in the game at some point. We have an early version of Chill Out from Halo 3, Cold Storage. This is Cold Storage, Chill Out, whatever. But yeah, so pretty much the same, obviously unfinished textures and things like that. We have an early version of Assembly, and pretty much the same thing as always. You can see that there's some minor changes, but unfinished textures. And they did have the Scarab in the skybox at this point, but I think it had different shaders. I think the retail had gray colors. Yeah, so I think he is right about that, which is a really cool thing about this map. This is actually a Scarab construction engineering place, right? Where they construct, Scarabs. Anyway, we have an early version of the Halo 3 DLC map Sandbox. So you can see that there's kind of like a really pathetic walk down area here. I'm glad that that's so sad. I mean, I hope this wasn't going to be like the big center pit that we got, on the very bottom. But yeah, this map is fascinating to look at, always has been, and really cool that we actually see these gray pieces before they were textured, just some like kind of blocking out of what Bungie was going to do with this map. And it's kind of retained very similar shape and look and design to it, but very unfinished. And so moving forward, we have this very, very interesting map, another cut map from Halo 3 called Desecration. They say, I'm not sure what this was supposed to be, but it seems to be Covenant and Flood theme, and it's a pretty big vertical map. So yeah, he's not kidding. This map, just like all of Halo 3's maps, and we're going to see some really cool ones here in a moment, one of my favorite. There is a lot going on this map. Obviously, Flood and Covenant themed, but it's just such an exotic place. I just don't know there's many Halo maps that look like this. And we can actually see that there's a little bit of gameplay here. So let's actually take a look at this here. A little fly around, I guess. But I mean, this stuff is actually insane. Again, this is on the Halo 3 ODST mod tools, but I'm thinking it would be extremely easy to put it into Halo 3. So don't mind the ODST. This is, I'm sure, would be playable very much for Halo 3, and I want to see this stuff finished. So modders, look, you got your maps fleshed out. Can we see some finished versions of these maps? It does look like it might be too vertical, though. I mean, this is a lot of verticality. My God. It could be really fun for, like, one flag, though. I mean, the kinds of different angles and stuff you can get on this is just... wow. I mean, that is just really cool. We have an early version of Midship, for Halo 3, Heretic. It was originally going to be Flood-themed remake taking place on High Charity. Wow. So that would have been a different take on the map. A very different take on the map. I think the skybox would have been freaking amazing too. My gosh, I want to see this version too. I wish Bungie had the time to make 2 different versions, honestly. This one is beautiful, by the way. It might look familiar. So this one was called Beachhead, and it's a cut Halo 3 DLC map, which ended up being Tempest from Halo Reach. But I gotta be honest with you, I actually prefer this kind of beachy, tropical look rather than what we got in Halo Reach, which was very similar, right? As we can see here, a very similar look on the very bottom here. I don't know what is on the top, Bungie, confidential, do not distribute. So maybe at some point this was, you know, not supposed to be looked at, I guess, long time ago. It honestly looks a bit like Forge World up here. So, you know, again, all these engines are very much connected. All these ideas are very much connected. So I love the look of this Tempest. I want to see it. I want to play it in Halo 3, not Reach. I want to see how it plays in Halo 3, right? 2-bomb would be amazing on it. We also have a DLC map, Citadel, from Halo 3 that was originally going to be 8-8, where it has 2 identical areas with red and blue lighting. Citadel, yeah, Citadel was actually a 4v4, not an 8v8. But wow, you know, that's quite a different kind of look to it, isn't it? You know, I want to see all this stuff put into matchmaking, to be honest. And I think that as time goes on, I mean, MCC's got it going on so well. I'm so glad that they canceled microtransactions, you guys. Such a good, solid idea. I mean, it's kind of duh, but like they were gonna do it and they didn't. You know, they said never mind. We think it would kind of ruin the community. What we're looking at here is called Dam. It's a cut Halo 3 multiplayer map set at the Dam. You might obviously notice it. It's a very iconic area in the campaign. I think it would have been very easy to make this into a multiplayer map. There's so many different places and corners, and you know, it's nighttime. I don't think we have many nighttime maps in Halo 3. But here's some more screenshots from the courtesy of Kira. So big shout out to them, by the way. Be sure to follow them. I'll leave a link down to their Twitter below. And I think that might just be it for Halo 3 stuff. So if we pivot back over to Reach, the Strike Fighter, more elegantly named the Pegasus, was a concept similar to the Saber. So this wing of the UNSC boasted an armament of cannons, missiles, and nose-mounted Spartan lasers. So I want to see this in soon. I think they're working on getting this into the game. Now, the Wolverine, man, this has been such an iconic vehicle. Obviously, it's made its way into Halo Wars, I think, 1 and 2. It's actually been known as the Kodiak in Halo Wars 2. But in early concepts, I mean, this was meant to be in Halo Reach, right? And they actually said they took a little bit more work for the Pegasus to get this working in engine, but Reach introduced a few extra challenges for anyone looking into making such vehicles. This one's a little bit more complicated, so what they did here is make it work like the actual Halo Wars one. So it has this function where it goes into a lockdown state, and then the back-mounted weapon is primed to fire. So I want to try that out. Oh my god, I think Rejected Shotgun's going to have so much fun doing this stuff, you know, playing with these tools, and I really want him to be, like, the arbiter of making all this accessible in a fun way. As well as Kira, I think that they're kind of like the leaders with the modding community, and I really want to see them take advantage of this stuff so we can all enjoy this stuff, as 343 intended it to be, right? As they release Bungie's old assets. This is called the Night Rifle. It's a cut weapon, Forerunner weapon, Promethean weapon from Halo 4. The original Prometheans here, I actually thought that this was a fake picture. I guess it was real, or it was concept art, but that is a real picture leaked from Halo 4 back in the day. I really can't remember, but Prometheans, I think, functioned a bit cooler. They had destructible limbs, and so it was like kind of spiritually like the Flood, you know, in a way, because you had to blow their limbs up in order to kill them, you know, and kind of like Dead Space, I guess. But yeah, anyway, this is really cool stuff. They say, allowing for all 4 limbs and head to be destroyed, the source animations indicate that the Knight would have been able to repair itself. So the Knight has an interesting set of source animations, including a set of grab animations that showcase a grappling mechanic that can the player could enter into with the Knight. So I think we saw that through some quick action stuff with the Knights anyway in Halo 4, but basically, I think they could grab the player, and then maybe you would have to smash X to break free, you know, while you're taking damage. So I think that's pretty new. I think there's so many new things. I feel like, you know, everyone's been sleeping on Halo. Let's be honest. 343's been sleeping on it. Bungie did the best they could with it with the time that they had and the money they had, but there's so much to do with this franchise, I swear. Anyways, they say we will still have some surprises for later, but there has been work done to evaluate Halo Wars material for inclusion in MCC. That said, we have no plans to release cut content for Halo Wars itself. That may seem a little odd, but it's far simpler to get content from the RTS to the FPS and those pipeline with the skills of the current team. So Yeah, anyway, oh, they talk about blur stuff. It's trickier when we look at vehicles and characters, particularly to the blur source assets. The blur assets were extremely organized and set up, but their texturing workflow is rather alien to how we do things in a Halo game. So that's interesting. I guess they're not gonna try to get blur assets in. Um, maybe so, but I don't know. I think that would be so cool. The Halo Wars cinematic Elite model ported to Halo 3 and rigged to the retail Elite skeleton. So is that the Elite from Halo Wars Blur? I mean, I'd have to I have to read more into this. I hate that I'm reading into it right now, but I didn't see that earlier. So lastly, and but not leastly, we have the experimental playable version right now of Crash Site. And I might be playing this very soon on live stream. So you can explore the island with survivors or tag in a friend and join on the adventure. Crash Site fully supports cooperative play. Go play it. It's downloadable right now. Okay, guys? So if you enjoyed this recap, smash that like button, subscribe for more Dig Site news, and I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Peace.